And the prelate of the Russian Orthodox Church was waiting for me at the door. It must have been 1 o'clock. He said, the Prime Minister of Russia wants to see you in the morning at 10 o'clock. We'll take you over there. I said, fine. So the next morning, can I tell all of this straight?
Of course.
All right. They dumped me out in front of this big palace. I had polio. I have a hard time walking. I had no one with me. And I finally got up 2 steps and didn't have a rail. Steps were probably 100 feet long. I got up the 2 steps and I lost my balance. And it had been raining all night, and I sat down in a puddle of water that deep. I finally got up, and I'm out in front of this building, fanning the seat of my pants, trying to dry them out. But all I could hear was my underwear going squish, squish, squish. I said, how can I go in and see the Prime Minister of Russia? I almost backed out. I said, no, I'm here, I'm going. I walked in, sat down in front of the Prime Minister of Russia. He leaned over at me. He said, whispered, do you have a Bible? I thought that meant Bible. Before I left, the Lord really impressed on me to take 12 Russian Bibles with me. That was secret. I gave them all out before I left. So I said, yeah. I reached in my briefcase, and I get teary on this. I had the privilege of presenting a Bible to the Prime Minister of Russia. He grabbed it. He flipped through it. He looked at me and he said, I never see a Bible. I always wanted a Bible. Then he whispered, my mama wrote my name on the big book at the church. I'm a Christian. Now that shocked me, but I had that privilege of giving him his first Bible. See, put it in then he became Prime Minister. He said, I want you to know that we're having the biggest potato crop we've ever had. I said, great. Well, he says, it's not that great. We're going to lose half of it. I slammed the desk and I said, why are you losing half of it? He said, well, you don't understand. Russia is a big country, and the potato fields are way up here. It's sparsely populated, and you know when potatoes are ready to be dug, if they're not dug, they rot. And he said, we don't have enough people to dig them, and we don't have any trucks to bring them down to the population centers. And we don't have any place to store them. We're going to lose half of it. I said, that's crazy. This Pentecostal kid from Enid, Oklahoma, called him the Prime Minister crazy. He said, what do you mean? I said, Gorbachev told me yesterday the war is over. You got more army bases around here than anyone in the world. You got more army trucks than anyone in the world. You've got more army carriers. That's the one that they all put the soldiers in that has the tarpaulin over the back. I said, you go to the army base, you take the soldiers, put them in those trucks, take them all the way up there, dig every potato, leave some there for the public, bring them back, store them on the army bases, take the tarpaulin off of the carrier, put it on the ground so the groundwater won't come up, put a tarpaulin over so the rain won't come down. You'll save every potato. He jumps up and he said, come with me. And we go out and we get in the ZIL limousine that's only made in Russia. We go to over the Pentagon of Russia, and we walk into the Chief General of the USSR. Boy, did I feel great. We walk right up the table, and he's saluting the Prime Minister. He didn't even introduce me. He said, "Rex, he speaks English. Tell him what you told me." Well, by this time, I was rehearsed. And I told it to him Pentecostal style. Prime Minister said to him, "I want the troops moving in 2 hours to the potato fields, every tater dug, put on the army trucks, bring them back to the camps around here and store and take the tarps off and do what Rex says." The general jumped back and he reached under the table, punched the bell, and I'm surrounded by 10 lieutenant generals. And they gave me an interpreter and said, "Tell them what you told me." Oh, bless God, I was anointed by this time. Loved it. I knew God was with me, and I knew God was giving me the words to say. And when I finished, the Prime Minister of Russia said, "I want the troops moving in 2 hours. Do what Rex says." And we turn around and we leave. That night, my son calls me from our office in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He said, "Dad, are you all right?" I thought, well, yeah, why you ask? Well, Dad, CNN and all the news says Russia is invading some country because our satellite shows that the highways are full of army trucks with army people in them, so they must be going to invade some country. I said, "Son, they're just going to dig potatoes." And I hung up. A year later, I went back and I was knighted. The first knighting in 70 years since the Tsar died, because I saved them from famine.
Isn't that awesome? And listen, one reason I love to have Lonnie tell his stories, you don't know when you're going to be put in that situation. A simple word of wisdom, this is how you save your harvest, could have saved millions of lives. And you don't know. We've got to be ready in season and out of season. And I think the Lord loves to do it this way. I think that was much better, much more efficient than had it been White House to the Kremlin. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't know at any time when any of us could be put in a situation like that to do something remarkable, even stop a war.